Hello, everyone. Welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. Welcome to a daily ramble. Tuesday. Thought I'd give you Monday off. As always, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe and don't forget, drop a like on the video. And it's that time of the month where I'm going to give our channel sponsors, the Kent and Sussex Tea and Coffee Company, a shout out. You always see them floating up there in the top left-hand corner of your screen. They've been supporting us now for around about, it must be getting on for 2 years. Great guys, great products. So if you love your tea, your coffee, your hot chocolate, your accessories, that 15% discount, Claret 15, gets you discount across the board. You'll find a link to their web store in our description. And yeah, go and check them out. Go and support a local business. And it is great, great stuff as well. Okay, yeah. So what we're going to talk about today? Well, we've got Chelsea coming up at the weekend. I'll touch on that briefly right at the end. And we've got some transfer news, or third-party bollocks, as I'm calling it now. And there's the Graham Potter situation. Now, we've been having a little bit of a debate over the past few days on our Terraces WhatsApp group in relation to this, and trying to ascertain why Potter is still here. Look at it from both ways. I mean, we know why Sullivan and Brady are keeping him here. They're keeping him here because they don't like paying managers off until it's too late. You know, it will have to be beyond any doubt. He'll have had to have caused maximum destruction before they pay him off. But why hasn't he walked? Because I think it's pretty clear to see from anyone that is watching, keeping an eye on social media, all the standard outlets, you know, he's being thrown under the bus again. You know, even with Brady the other day, that was kind of, you know, it was a vote of confidence, wasn't it? You know, a little bit soon for that, I think. Although not for me, it's not. But in general, it's only one game into the season. There's still 37 games left to play. So, you know, what brought that on? Now, I know that there's been some back and forth over the arguments in the changing rooms that was reported. I'll be honest, I didn't really see the tweet. I heard people talking about it, so I made a few phone calls myself, and I didn't get any information like police were called or anything like that, but I was told there was definitely a big row in the changing room after the game. It was quite bad. But at the same time, you would expect there to be. I'd be more worried if there wasn't. We've just been beaten 3-0 by Sunderland. No disrespect, Sunderland. I know you're a massive club, but you've been 8 years out the league. You got promoted through the playoffs, and you just come and walloped us 3-0 in the opening day of the season. We're supposed to be the established Premier League club. I would hope and expect that whatever competitive players we've got in that changing room that do not accept this type of thing would be kicking off and ripping shit out of the place. Standard practice. So I don't see why people were so shocked about it either. But what bothers me is how it was played down by the non-powers that be, you know, people that think they're powerful but they're not. Yeah, so it was just nonsense. But Potter, why is he still here? Because he's being thrown under the bus, right? He's not stupid. He's not thick. I appreciate he's come here to rebuild his career, but it's not happening. It's not working. He's already sitting on a £40 million fortune, roughly, from his time at Chelsea. You know, he didn't even dare look for another job until they'd paid him every last penny. So he's definitely money motivated in that sense. If he was a football man, it'd have been trying to get out and get straight back on the horse and get back into management. But no, he made sure he got every penny of that contract that Chelsea had given him before he came to us. So you can see that he's not going to walk no matter the situation. And the debate that we had was, well, look at Jose Mourinho. You know, Jose Mourinho, he does the same. He gets his payoffs. And I said, well, it's different because in a sense, Jose Mourinho does walk away. But what he does, when it becomes untenable for Jose, because you know what you're getting with Jose, you're getting attritional football. You're probably going to get success. You're going to get theatre, the Jose Mourinho theatre. And then you're going to have chaos and an early exit from his deal. It's just what you get from him. But you get something. You get bang for your buck, right? But what Jose does is he does walk, but he don't walk away from the money. He makes his position untenable. He starts basically throwing the ball under the bus. He does. He starts creating chaos. That is walking away, but in an intelligent way. And the reason he keeps on getting re-employed, though, Jose, is because obviously he is successful and people know what they're getting with him. They know the risks, but the rewards of winning things, they outweigh the risk, clearly. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep on getting employed. But Potter hasn't got that in him. He hasn't got it in him, in this situation now, what's his payoff going to be from West Ham? What, roughly around about 5 million? If he was to walk away now, or he can just sit this out for a month and get 5 million added to that already ridiculous bank balance. But ask yourself this. If you're sitting on a fortune of 40 million plus, because he looks like a very shrewd businessman, so he's probably made lots of really good investments, so he's probably grown that money as well. You've got to ask yourself, for professional pride, would you allow yourself to be destroyed? Now, he's doing a lot of this himself, by the way, with his management, but the board are not helping. You can see what they're going to do. They're going to hold him up as a sacrificial lamb, which is what I predicted way before the window opened. This is what they're going to do. Paqueta's going to get sold late on. I'll go on to talk about Paqueta in a bit. Why would you not just walk away and say, stick your NDA up your arse? Stick your 5 million up your arse. I'm going to leave my head held high and I'm going to throw this all back at you and tell the media exactly what I've been having to cope with and try and salvage some whatever's left of your reputation, because there's going to be nothing left. It's going to be like that EastEnders scene with Ian Beale and Phil Mitchell. He's got nothing left. If this goes the way it looks like it's going to go. It's as simple as that. I would walk. If I had that much money in the bank, I'd walk. I wouldn't allow this to happen to me. I'd be too proud. Or I'd probably be more inclined to take the Jose route rather than, might struggle to walk away from 5 million. So I'd probably just be a right bastard and make him sack me and pay me off. Either way, you're making a stand. You're saying this ain't working. That's for the good of the club as well, by the way, because if something's toxic, you leave. You just go. It's done. You don't be part of this sinking of a ship. It's like a game of chess. It's ridiculous. The board are never ever going to do the right thing. Like I said, until it's too late. We're all saying he'll be gone in 5 games, 6 games if we don't win, but probably not, because he'll probably hold out until Burnley and hope that he gets something against Burnley, and then the clock will be reset. It's probably what will happen. I mean, I tell you what, we have had some good news though. Well, I have, especially after me rant-a-thon with Gary on the phone-ins on Sunday. The Moyes roast tenters should be quiet for another week, shouldn't they? What was that, 45 minutes, no shots on goal, 0.00 XG. Do you remember that? Yeah, at least we had a few shots on goal. So at least they'll be quiet for a little while. So that'd be nice. Because I was just sitting there thinking, if they win, even if they just shit us a 1-0, we're just going to get loads of crap again from these people. But yeah, thankfully, it's all going to be quiet on the Moyes front this week. Anyway, the phone-in should be less irritating for me. What do you think, though, about Potter? If you was him, put yourself in his shoes. It clearly isn't working for him. It's not. He can't manage big players. He literally can't. We're having to give players away by the looks of it. Alvarez, giving him away. We're going to keep Guido by the looks of it. And we're going to get rid of Alvarez because he can't manage him. That's it. This is the upshot of this. Kudus is quite clear that Kudus was identified as a player that was expendable because of the shape that we was going to this year. Kudus was earmarked as a player that we could sell, make a profit on to facilitate his rebuild. Kudus has become the bad man. It's since come out that Kudus was on the verge of going to Chelsea. They offered 30 million plus Dewsbury Hall, and he agreed terms with Chelsea. But that fell through because we wanted the money. We wanted the money in it, and we ended up begging and played in for Tottenham to pick the deal up. So, yeah, he was expendable, Kudus. Alvarez is expendable. Paqueta. These are probably our three, Bowen aside, our 3 most talented players. He's getting out of the team. Gone, It's a worry. It really is a worry. Because we can't afford to get much worse. We can't. And it's going to make us worse. Now, look, what's the point in keeping Alvarez if he ain't going to play him? My point would be for the next manager. Because he ain't going to be here long. That's why I'd keep these players. That's why if I was the board, I would be looking at him thinking, shit, he's crashing here. I wouldn't be selling anyone because I'd be wanting to be able to offer something to another manager to make it look attractive. Look, we've got Edson Alvarez. Look, we've got Lucas Paqueta. How is he going to be able to sell this job to anyone next? We know what type of manager it's going to be that comes in the short term, and then he'll save us, and everyone will just, we're going to have to, yes, we're going to go around in circles again. But nonetheless, this thing with Potter has got a very short lifespan. It's going to come to an end. Unfortunately, it won't be a quick death. It's going to have to be when it's going to be worse than normal, because they are going to look, it looks like they're going to back him to strip out a load of players that will probably be very useful to other managers in the future. And we're going to have to completely fail. We could be winless. We could be pointless after 6 games. I mean, watching that game against Sunderland, we are pretty pointless anyway, aren't we, at the minute? But yeah, it could be terrible, How do you sell that? I mean, they struggle to get managers in anyway. And this is the other thing, the profile of managers that we end up with. I mean, the reason we end up with these characters like Potter rather than somebody with the character of a Jose Mourinho is because they're easier to manage. They don't ask for too much. And if they do, the club and the board can bully them and they can manipulate them. That's why, you don't do that to a Conte, to a Mourinho. You just don't. You don't get away with it. But they hand pick and they select these people because they're passive, because they're weak, as far as I'm concerned. The only ones that have done half okay under Sullivan and very well in one instance. No, both did very well. Was Allardyce and Moyes, old-fashioned, hard bastards. Completely and utterly talentless managers, in my opinion, in terms of the way they coach and the way they deliver football to the fans. But they're hard, old-fashioned operators that stand their ground, and they're the only ones that have managed to sort of really survive. We had a little purple patch under Bilic for that season in 15-16, where it all came together beautifully for that one season. But on the whole, talented managers coming in, working under Potter, you need to see. It looks like you've got to have a bit of an edge about you. You've got to not have anything pushed on you. This is what's being thrown out there in the media at the moment. They're basically saying Potter's not accepting players that we're offering him, or so he's not accepting, all of the Salthouse players. Again, I don't buy that, because apparently he didn't accept Kyle Walker-Peters and Wilson, and Sullivan bought them anyway. So nothing makes any sense. All this third-party bollocks from these third-party idiots that peddle all this crap. It's a mess. I'm not really looking at any of the links. I'm laughing at some of them, even though there's probably some that are true. But the funny one was Jamie Vardy. We was linked with 38-year-old Jamie Vardy. And imagine adding him to our sprightly even though he'd probably be the best of the lot. But he's 38, soon to be 39. Well, apparently he wants to go back and reunite with Brendan Rodgers at Celtic rather than come to West Ham. So we can't even get him. We can't. He's almost a pensioner. Almost got his bus pass. So it is. It's going to be interesting to see what business they think that they can do in the final 2 weeks. Let's see what they can do, because Alvarez is definitely going to go. Apparently, the loan will be good for West Ham because it will free up wages, it's got nothing to do with it. Potter just can't cope with having him there, and he just wants him out, and it's hurting his bum. He just wants to get rid of him. He can't cope with. He's not a manager. He's not. He's a lower league coach. That will be very good dealing with young players or hopeful players, not dealing with big egos. Not at all. He can't deal with it. But I'll tell you what I did watch the other day, just changing the subject slightly. I watched the rant, the meltdown with Nicky, Hawkins and Dan from West Ham Fan TV, and you had Ryan Archer on the screen as well, and they started talking about Stighton. I won't get into the debate and tell you who I agree with, but essentially what it was, they was arguing over whether or not Sullivan had pulled back when Stighton was here and given Stighton full control. Now, as we know, if you listen to the third-party bollocks from the likes of Sean Whetstone, you'll believe one narrative, or you'll have an opinion on it, and then other people just look at it for what it is. Just third-party bollocks. That's all it is. It's being filtered down. Just don't listen to it. And then you got Ryan sitting there who's just ambivalent. He just don't really care, which is how a lot of people feel as well. But it was a massive argument, right? A massive argument. Big division on the subject. And that was funny, but it was an actual representation of the West Ham fan base. If you take those three people and multiply them, that is what these media sources and Sullivan does to this fan base via the ITKs. They divide and they conquer. When they do what they do and they leave things open for interpretation and they release one story one day from the senior source and then another story the next day, which conflicts with it, they tie you up in knots, they confuse everyone, they frustrate everyone. Different people think differently, so they're going to interpret things differently. You end up with that massive division. And it isn't genius. It's abhorrent. It's insidious. It's been done throughout time. It's the act of a fucking horrible, horrible bastard that's destroyed a once united family club. And like I said, that video, although amusing, it was a sad representation of the fan base as a whole. Look at me and Gary on Sunday. You know, we never really argue. We won't be arguing about Moyes this weekend, now, will we? But no, this is the thing. So these people that peddle these stories, as John said as well, they're poison. Poison. Rats that separate us all. And you end up with these little divisions and these cults and these sects within the fan base. But it is what it is. Yeah, it was good. One thing I will say is, Dan Lawless, shout out to you, mate, on your channel, the latest one that you've done, where you made an appearance on Sky Sports. Underneath that, I saw the comment, your pinned comment, where you pushed the petition. Well done, mate. Thank you very much. Doff me imaginary cap. I wish more would do the same. I wish they would. The only thing I wish you'd have done is use the URL that I paid for, which is bsout.co.uk, rather than the long string. But it's good anyway, mate. I'm only messing. Thanks very much. Yeah, look, we're linked with loads of players. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Sorry, Santos, Fernandez. I don't care. Nothing's going to change the way that we play. I know that many of you think it will. I know you do. I hope you're right. But we shall see. Let's move on to Chelsea. All right. I'm going to look ahead to Chelsea based on what we've got at present and what I would like to see happen against Chelsea. Now, what I don't really want for him to do is to set up in exactly the same way, but change the personnel now and maybe put Potts in midfield with James Ward-Prowse in a formation and with a philosophy that will set him up for failure, almost to a degree like what he did with Scholes against Liverpool, where he got him to Mark Salah, and then we didn't really see Scholes again after that. So I hope you don't make a point against Chelsea, because maybe taking it as we're going to lose anyway. So let's put the players out there that everyone's asking for. I want Potts to play in the right system. Now, look, at the moment, Alvarez ain't gone because he's been leaving all windows. So I'm going to take it as though Alvarez is still here, all right? Because he ain't gone yet. So we'll see what happens. So this is how I would like to see us play. I don't give a shit what Potter wants. This is how I would set us up. I'd play with Areola in goal. Nothing against Hermansen, but that bloke's going to need therapy after what happened the other day. He does not need to be thrown in goal against Chelsea, who had 19 shots against Crystal Palace the other day. If it goes well, it will rebuild his confidence. If it doesn't, it will compound the misery that he's already feeling. He needs to be taken out the firing line and he needs to be bedded in to the team at the right time. Save the man, Potter. This isn't about you being proven right. There's a human being there. Take him out a goal. If he has another bad one, the fan base is going to be completely on him. All right? Put Areola in goal. I would go for Wan-Bissaka as a right back of a back four. I would go for Areola as a left back of a back four. I'd have a middle two of Todibo and Mavropanos, and I would drop Kilman. Kilman has always been my issue in defence, and I think Mavropanos is the only one that aerially can dominate at the back. And Areola's bigger as well. So straight away, that makes us less vulnerable to the types of goals that we conceded against Sunderland the other day. Even though Chelsea are probably less likely to attack us in that way, they're more likely to cut us to ribbons, on the floor. In front of that, I'd have a three. I'd play a 4-3-3. I'd play a sole CDM, whose job would just be to marshal, quite tight. So I would play a sole CDM because I think your best method of attack against Chelsea is to push them and stretch them a little bit as well. You're going to have to offer some threat. You can't invite them on. So I'd have Alvarez at the base. I'd have Potts and Paqueta in 8s, where they're kind of alongside Alvarez, bombing on, taking turns bombing on as and when. I would play Bowen on the right. I would play Diouf as a left winger. Or Emerson, but it looks like he's in the bad books. But I would play him as a left winger. Centre forward, I'm going to say it. I'd play Callum Wilson. Not because I want to. You know, it's a sad indictment of where we are as a team. But I'd play Callum Wilson. Listen, I like Fulkrug. I love him. I'm not saying he's crap. He's no different to the likes of Chris Wood, who playing in a functional team will score goals for fun if he's getting them on a plate for him. It's never going to happen at West Ham. It's not. So he's going to end up being about as much use as a fucking chocolate teapot. He did get battered the other day as well against Sunderland. You know, he lost the most duels of any player on the pitch. 16. That Dan Ballard absolutely basted him. I just think that Wilson gives you more movement. He's not as fast as he was, but he'd be faster than Fulkrug. It'd be more suited to centre forward than Bowen, who flourishes out on the right. Get Bowen back in his strongest position. We've got no other option. I would play Callum Wilson up front. So that's what I would do. Let me know what your thoughts are. And let me know what you think about all the other crap I've just spoken about as well. Potter, just walk away, mate. Or kick off. Get sacked. Get your payoff. Do a Jose. Learn from the master of the payoff. Just come out and call them all out for all the crap that they've been doing. Like I said, you ain't been perfect. This ain't working. It ain't going to work for you. You're destroying this club. You're feeding into it. You know, you're taking out players that people like me and other fans we love. It ain't working. It ain't going to work. Just go. Go. Please. All right? Anyway, look, that's it from me. Speak to you soon. Gavin, your heads.